Welcome to Sit Downs with City Lifestyle, Vegas Edition podcast. My name's Chrissy Bound, publisher for Henderson City Lifestyle, and we are back with our Meet the Partners series. Joining us today, we have Alex Mavros, 702 Property and Life Realty at the District. Welcome.
Thank you.
Jason Hill from Modern Lending.
It's good to see you again.
It's good to have you guys back.
Definitely.
We had a blast the last time you guys were on with us. It was actually one of my favorite episodes because we laughed a lot. So, and hoping to do the exact same thing today.
Let's keep the jokes going.
I know. Let's keep it rolling. Well, you guys have an interesting story of how you guys met. You guys have had a long-standing friendship. So tell us a little bit about how you guys originally met way back when.
Yeah, so fall of 1998, I was pledging a fraternity here at
That's
UNLV.
98.
1998.
Late 1900s.
Late 1900s, exactly.
The elders.
Exactly.
And I met Alex. He was a fraternity brother, and everybody loves Big Al.
Yep.
He's always my Kevin Bacon situation where you really can't go 5 degrees of separation without knowing somebody that knows Big Al.
Yep.
And yeah, we've been amazing friends since.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it's so true.
Well, this dude's an amazing athlete. So he was like our MVP for every Rebel Cup. Everything that we did, it was always JL. Like to this day, like he still plays with some of the WNBA players. Like they bring him in as a freaking sniper.
What?
So yeah, this dude's amazing.
And occasionally.
The hidden skills of Jason over here. That's
It's getting
awesome.
tougher at 46, but I'm going to go out on my shield and keep playing until I can't.
I love that. I love it. So you guys were like, stomping around UNLV in the 90s. So what would you say that Vegas was like then versus today?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, Scandia was Friday night. Like
Scandia?
there was obviously not necessarily in college. But fake ID at 18.
We all had one.
I had a fake ID before I had a driver's license.
Did you really?
Yeah, it's pretty horrible to say.
Oh my God.
But I don't know, the things that you wanted to go out and do, which I probably shouldn't have been, required a fake ID. And a close friend was like the pipeline for the fake ID. So
funny.
I would go to a bar, get it taken, go to his house, get a new one made, and go back and wait for the bouncer to change out and try to get back in. Usually get that ID taken.
We had one of our buddies that got a fake ID taken at a charity event. No. It was actually an after party for Boys Night Out.
Oh my God.
At the beach. But they were carding everybody to get in, and he got his fake ID taken. So, yeah, I mean, we even used fake IDs at charity events.
That's so funny. Classic fraternity at UNLV.
And again, I was on the extended plan, as they said in Tommy Boy, I should have been a doctor for the amount of years that I was there. But I had a great time. I played rugby, fraternity, set up spring break trips, and south of the border disorder trips, and had my entrepreneurial, game going on even back then. But it was great. We had, and that's one of the coolest things about Jay and I and our circle of friends is we're still 30 years, 25 plus years strong in all of our friendships and the fantasy football league that we have. And it just, all of that kind of blends together. Business, obviously, to be able to do business with your friends and the people you care about, be able to throw business back and forth, it's very important.
I love that. I love that you guys have maintained this friendship for all this time. And I think that's the cool thing about Vegas is like it's the biggest small town in the world. Oh, yeah. So, once you've been here for a while, like everybody kind of knows everybody. And truthfully, that's how business is done in this city, So what was a staple for you guys back then? And is it still around today?
Well, like when I saw that question, one of the things that popped in my head immediately was like the old school Wet n Wild on Las Vegas Boulevard. If you lived here in Vegas and had a chance to like check that out, it was like a legitimate, like amusement park.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of great memories growing up and spending days there.
Mm-hmm. Where was it by?
It was like right in front of the Sahara.
Oh my gosh.
Right in between. So right where that big empty lot is now that they keep saying that they're going to put an NBA arena. Yep. Wet n Wild was right there. Like that was our summer camp. Yeah. Like our parents would just drop us off there. We'd spend all day there and then sometimes go next door to the Thunderbird, the T, whatever it was, whatever hotel was there, and you'd eat there, and then kind of go back, and then your parents would pick you up at the end of the night. Like
probably give you $20 and lasted the entire day.
Probably last all week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's so funny. Well, I always like to. I mean, Vegas has a history of it just reinventing itself all the time, and so I always like to hear about the older days in Vegas. And I moved here in 2004, and even just since 2004, it's changed so much. So, there's a lot of nostalgia about Vegas in the 90s on the internet right now.
In fact, unfortunately, I can't go, but This Saturday they're having this concert at the Sahara called like Totally Tubular.
Okay.
And it's like Flock of Seagulls and all these 80 groups. And I'm like, man, that would have been awesome to go to. But then I realized how long ago that actually was.
Yeah, what a time to be alive, though, you know? And at UNLV, even in the early 2000s, it was still before they built out that whole area. And I lived in the dorms, believe it or not. And we used to have a hookup. The security guy at the time, he had a little golf cart that he would drive around campus. And me and my girlfriends made a little deal with him where, you know, if we gave him, you know, $15 or something like that, he would drive us to the end of the intramural fields. And back then, the old Hard Rock Hotel was right there on the corner, and that Circle Bar was like the hot spot. If you had no plans, you go to the Circle Bar at the Hard Rock, and it just launched from there.
The whole entire Hard Rock was like a nightclub when it opened. Like you got carded to get into the casino.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they had 777 steak and eggs or steak and shrimp. Yeah. It's awesome.
And they had the Body English nightclub. That's where I had my 21st birthday, and we got evicted.
Babies, Body English, and there was a lot of excitement there. Speaking of that intramural field, one of the coolest concerts that I ever went to was on that intramural field. It was Offspring and a bunch of other groups, and that was on that intramural field.
Yeah, they still did that. When I got here in 2004, I remember like my very first weekend, it was like the opening concert to like welcome everybody back to school, and it was Yellow Card was the one who performed, which I loved Yellow Card at that time. So I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah. So, and Hard Rock, man, Virgin just shot themselves in the foot. I mean, getting rid of that center bar was just that was literally the best, probably one of the most iconic meeting spots in town in terms of where everybody would go on a Friday night.
1,000%. You knew that if you went to the Circle Bar, you were going to see somebody that you knew. Oh, yeah. And, like, we would say, like, the night launches from the Circle Bar. You know, you never knew where it was going to take you.
Pre-party, post-party, middle party, middle of the night. Yeah. First of the day, before rehab, after rehab, during rehab.
It's a miracle we're all sitting at this table. We all survived that time, you know, looking back. But, I mean, these are the things that make you guys very unique and great at what you do here in town, because you guys have seen all the iterations that Vegas has to offer. And with that, I mean, Alex, being a realtor, what are some of the trends that you're seeing here in Las Vegas in 2026 in the realty market? You know,
obviously it's a little bit challenging right now. Rates are, Jay will be able to kind of attest to this, but rates are at their highest point they've been in a long, long time. So you've got a lot of people that are sitting on the sidelines and they don't know what to do. But at the same time, there's so many, because it's not a buyer's market, because it's not a seller's market, it's literally, yes, it definitely is more of a buyer's market in terms of the inventory that's out there. So sellers are much more apt to be able to give concessions and Jason can speak to this a little bit more in terms of, you know, what is the best thing to do? Is it a temporary buy down? Is it a permanent buy down? Is it better to just lower the price? You know, what are all of the different options that people have? So there's a lot of uncertainty in people's mind, and they're leaning more towards having that conversation with their next door neighbor who they wouldn't take any other advice from, but they all of a sudden are taking housing and finance advice from.
Of course.
So they listen to that person, or somebody who, you know, I think they just came out with the number for this year. 81% of realtors have not done one deal this year.
Wow.
Not a very good number, but who are people listening to sometimes? Those that have not done one piece of business, and they're telling people. So as we've discussed before, from the last time we were here, or really any time that I have a microphone or an opportunity to talk about, I just say you have to do it. Yeah. There's so many different things that we can do and ways that we can be creative. I had one client where it was in Lake Las Vegas. HOAs were $900 a month. Ooh. 3 different HOAs. Dang. Right? A little bit ridiculous. The home was only $400,000, but the HOAs were $900 a month. Wow. So what we did, because that $900 a month was steep, you know, that cash wise. So I said, we got him $10,000 in closing costs, and it paid for the whole first year of HOAs.
That's great.
So now, yes, is his rate a little bit higher? It is, but that was an extra $900 that he didn't have to come out of pocket with. So there's so many different ways, and whether that's with Jason, with, you know, the opportunity to be creative and put some of these things together is really that's what is the most important thing, just being creative and how you're going to make it work.
So would you say that maybe one of the mistakes that sellers are making now is just being too rigid with their
absolutely.
approach? Okay.
Well, and again, who they're talking to, who they're listening to, and the advice that they're taking, and then just saying, you know what, I'll do it. I'll do it when the rates come down. Well, we don't know when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Jay can maybe attest to that, what his outlook is over the next 6 months to a year. But again, there's a lot of different things that we can do, strategies that we can use that can buy you a year to 3 years to be able to get you to that point. Because again, if it were to happen and the rates came down, all of a sudden you're pricing yourself out of the market because now the rates came down and now you have 2 or 3 buyers putting an offer in on that house that you really liked and now you didn't get it.
Yeah.
Or the price went up 10 or 20, 25 grand and that just offset all the savings that you would have had if you would have just bit the bullet and
bought it. I mean, what do you think about that, Jay? What do you think about the rates? Like, as he talks about this, like any estimates that you have as far as like what people can expect in the next, I mean, who knows, right?
Yeah. Like my crystal ball has been broke for a couple of years. But so we have a new Federal Reserve Chairman, Kevin Warsh, and it's not so much like the residential side of the economy that really needs help with interest rates. It's more like the bond market. Like we got $39.5 trillion in debt, and the majority of that is tied into bonds. Our like monthly interest payment on that, as you know, taxpayers is like incredible. And so they need interest rates to come down in order to be able to refinance that debt. And there's also trillions of dollars of commercial debt that's out there looming. And commercial loans are never fixed. They're not 30-year fixed mortgages. They're 5, 7, 10-year adjustable rate mortgages. And so a lot of people in that space, in that commercial space, were refinancing or buying buildings in 2020, 2021. We're getting to the point where those are 5, 7 years, after the fact.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those rates will be adjusting and they can't refinance from the rate that they took in 2020 or 21 to what the rates are today. And so the like ticking time bomb is like our government debt and our commercial debt.
Okay.
The residential side needs it as well. Like everybody needs help, but they can't give us the help that we need because of the situation in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, that keeps, coming and going and getting inflamed. And until there's a resolution there, you're not going to have like a solid guidance on what energy prices are going to look like, specifically the price of oil. And the price of oil is like controlling so many different aspects of the economy. So again, until there's a resolution there, we're just kind of like bouncing back and forth. Like interest rates today are the highest they've been in maybe the last like 12 months.
Okay.
But like if you go back to 2023, interest rates were 8%.
Yeah.
So it's all relative.
Yeah.
And we were kind of having a conversation before this where like, does it make more sense to, wait it out and wait for interest rates to go down? But what that has always caused is an increase in the price of the home. So it's not, there's not really like a right answer to that. You just kind of have to analyze it and see the situation that you're in today.
Yep.
And just do the best you can for the next 3 to 5 years, because typically a mortgage is like a 5-year commitment at the most.
Yeah.
I know it's a 30-year fixed loan and everybody equates it to this 30-year debt.
Yeah.
But you have a 1% chance of never getting to year 9 in a mortgage.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So you have a 65% chance of never getting to year 6.
That is wild.
So if you're looking at like a mortgage as this like 30-year sentence, it's not, because there's going to be situations, life events that occur that are going to cause that loan to not be the one that's going to make the most sense in a few years. And so, again, you're just trying to do the best you can for this next 3 to 5 year window.
Yeah.
And hope for the best.
It's so interesting you say that, because, I think everybody, like, even for myself, when I was buying our house, my husband and I were engaged when we bought our house. So we went 50-50, which was like, I come from a family of divorce. Like, you never know what's going to happen. So I was like, we're going 50-50 on this thing, but the market was starting to go up. So we're like, we shouldn't wait till we get married, because that was another year out. Let's just pull this trigger and buy this house. My exact words to him after he signed the document was, I got you for 30 years. He's like, oh my God, what did I just do? But it is interesting that people aren't making it, like, you're right, like the 5 to 9 year timeline is really more realistic. But so what does that mean for the buyers? Like, so buyers, are they able to make, you said, with the example of Lake Las Vegas, people are making different kinds of concessions, so buyers are able to negotiate pretty significantly for right now, at least, right?
Well, and that's why it's so important to have, look, I'm also realistic. I know I'm not going to be everybody that's listening, everybody that's watching, I'm not going to be everybody's realtor, although I could be.
You could be.
So hit me up.
And everybody knows Big L.
But I'm realistic in knowing that I'm not going to be everybody's realtor. So the most important thing is making sure that your realtor does the best thing for you when you're negotiating. That, you do understand. Because if somebody were to come to me and say, here's my time window. I'm probably only going to be in Vegas for 1 to 3 years, but I want to buy. Well, make sure you understand that you may be coming out at a loss if you want to sell in 3 years. Now, if you tell me I want to buy the house because I'm going to be living there for the next couple of years, and then I'm probably going to get transferred to San Antonio and work there for a handful of years, but I'd like to come back afterwards. Great. It may still make sense for you that time that you're gone. Maybe you can rent it out, have somebody else paying the mortgage. So there's always going to be options, but that's why it's so important to sit down and find out what their long-term game is. What Jay just said, their long-term game also may not be being in that house. Like, you know, you and Tanner being in that house, you know, you have actually been there for a while, but and kind of stretching that average just as just as Jen and I have. I mean, we're 14 years, over 14 years in the house now, so we're the ones that skew that average. But finding out where they want to be, if they want to just start out this house and they're planning on having kids, so they're probably going to grow, or maybe they have 10-year-olds and they're going to want to downsize. So it's so important to get to know your realtor, to get to know your lender and have those conversations so that you're not just planning for tomorrow, you're planning for 3, 5, 10, 15 years out, not necessarily just on this house, but what it's going to look like further down the line.
Well, if people are considering, hey, I may be in the market to be buying a home, what would be a piece of advice, Jason, that you would give them today if they were saying, you know what, I'm thinking about doing this, like what should they be doing today to prepare for that?
So like no matter what, it usually goes like cart before the horse, and they're going to talk to a real estate agent first. A good real estate agent, their first like recommendation is going to be, have you talked to a lender? Just because the sooner you can talk to somebody like me, the sooner that you know what you're capable of, and you're not like, looking at homes that you can't afford or it doesn't make sense. Like the worst thing in the world is to think that you're going to buy a house for $550,000 and find out you can qualify for $450,000. There's a big difference in those homes for $100,000. So to have like a realistic expectation of like what you can accomplish is huge. And then again, the sooner you talk to me, the sooner I can give you that roadmap of like what you need to accomplish to put yourself in the very best position. Usually that's going to be, do we need to work on credit scores? Do we need to save some money so you have, down payment available? Do we need to, wait for a raise to happen at your job? There's a lot of different things that are like, put into this bucket that we're stirring to figure out what you can accomplish. And so the sooner that we get an idea of what that is, the sooner I can give you like a legit roadmap of, if you accomplish these things, you're going to put yourself in the best position. A lot of people just want to think about it, and like it's like I'm not the fun guy to talk to. I get it. It's not fun.
You're a resident mathematician over here,
and I'm not great at math, but you don't need to be. There's a lot of tools for that. But like at the end of the day, it's just super important that you have the conversation. You get that tough part out of the way, so then Alex can sell you the dream and show you the houses, because that's obviously what everybody wants to be doing, but a quick 25-minute conversation with me can really make that like a legit possibility a lot sooner than later.
Well, and here's the thing too. Jay actually saved one of our deals earlier this year because the buyer, I was on the seller side, the buyer had spoke to a credit union, was supposed to have this beautiful, amazing deal, and then literally at the 23rd hour, 11th hour, whatever that saying is.
It was like 28 days into your 30-day.
Yeah, all of a sudden we were going to cancel the deal. And I was like, can I at least introduce my lender to you? And luckily they actually knew each other. The buyer's agent and Jay had spoken in years past. And Jay ended up making a miracle happen because he knew how, and he also was able to talk to that buyer and have him make it happen, because we were also getting strung along.
Oh no!
And he is amazing at being able to have those conversations. And he sat down with them through the process, made sure it happened, and we were able to get the deal done. And it was, my sellers were over the moon because again, they had the ups of being in contract, and then that buyer backed out because she got cold feet. And then we're waiting, 30 days to get closed, and they're on a cruise when we were supposed to be closed.
Oh geez.
Only to get the bad news, bring in Jason, bring in the freaking savior MVP. He has the conversation. He gets the deal done a few weeks later. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks. And he could have closed it even quicker. It was just they were dragging their feet. So that's why it's so important. Because, again, sometimes if you're talking to a lender or you're talking to somebody who doesn't know what they're doing or doesn't know what they're talking about, they're going to try and sell that dream. And then all of a sudden it becomes a nightmare. So I've never, ever had a deal with Jason that didn't close, number one, that didn't close, but number two, because he does that front end work. He does that, that diagnostic to know if we can go to step two. And he's not going to waste somebody's time.
If they can't.
If they can't, he'll set up that roadmap, that game plan. And then when you know that you're ready, boom, then we close.
What's funny because like I get like flack from some mentors and some people I've like paid for like professional coaching because of the amount of time I spent on the front end with the client. And like that's the fun part for me, like teaching them like how this works and like what they're capable of doing and how you put their information into this like equation. And like I'll spend 45 minutes, 60 minutes with somebody on the phone just like really showing them how this all works. And like the formula for a lot of like top producing loan officers is it's like a 15-minute conversation at the beginning. You move them on to some teammates that may not have the big incentive that you have to make sure that deal closes and that they get like the white glove service. So again, like it has like served me for good and bad maybe during my career. I think
good. These people are going to come back to you forever.
I hope so. Yeah, for sure.
You spent that time, and most people, you're right. Like a lot of times, people are just, bing, bang, boom. They want quick calls. But if you're willing to take the time and get to know somebody's entire landscape, that also helps you be able to guide them in a better direction.
Yeah, and it's funny because like just based on like the way that transactions and like business is conducted, I've spent hours like helping people, and then their credit union is 1/8% cheaper, and they don't tell me, and they go somewhere else. So like you have like a mix of that as well, but
and then you get that call. So it didn't pan out, and they're asking me this. Is that accurate? You're like, wait, you just went to go work with somebody else, but you're coming back to me to ask questions?
Yeah, I want everybody to have the best deal, and like I've tried to do the best job I can positioning myself where I can provide that.
Yeah.
And, margins in our industry continue to get sharper and sharper. Yeah. But again, at the end of the day, like me and Alex both look at our businesses not so much as like sales businesses, but more as like advisory firms.
Yeah.
And it's more important for us to consult and advise at the beginning and throughout the process than it is just to make that sale.
For sure. You guys are in the people business.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Well, and the thing about it is also, like a client that I'm taking out tomorrow, I told her, I said, look, just so you understand the way I do business. Yes, I get paid commissions, and I only get paid commissions if I close a deal. But at the same time, I don't want your deal to close and then you to have buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
And I'm not going anywhere. Like I plan on doing this business at least for the indefinite future.
Yep.
So if that deal ends up happening tomorrow, I always want to build my pipeline for the future. So if that deal comes in 2026 or 2027 or whenever it happens, that's fine. But I would rather her be comfortable. And she actually said, "Thank you so much. I was getting anxiety on what I needed to do and if I really should move," because her mom passed away. And so, she's been in the house and she doesn't want to be in the house anymore. Yeah. She wants to get something different. So, she's already dealing with the anxiety of losing a life change, something being different, and now she's moving to something else. And so you have to, again, understand where they're at and what they're dealing with and why they're doing it, not just, oh, sweet, I got another deal, let's get that one done, and I need my numbers and I need my commission. Because you can always smell desperation breath.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean,
commission breath,
one of the things, but this is what makes you guys different. This is what really sets you guys apart is the time you're willing to spend with these people, but also like, knowing the market to the level that you guys do and the longevity that you've had here in town. Because there's so many people that'll come to Vegas. We've all seen it. They're here for a year, 2 years, and then they bounce out. And it's like, okay, well, never going to see that person again, you know?
Some people just can't handle Vegas.
Some people just can't handle Vegas. I love that so much. And like, it's true. Some people can't. It's not for everybody, but I think, having a long-standing history here in town speaks volumes for those of us that have been here for a while, because it's like, we want to work with people who we know are going to be here 10 years from now, We don't want to be hit by these fly-by-night people,
Yeah, and Vegas, as I've always said, Vegas is kind of an anomaly, right? We've got the A's, the stadium's coming along nicely. We're going to it looks like NBA is going to happen. I mean, we got 10 different groups with billions and billions behind them, so it looks like that's probably going to happen. There's so many different things that are happening right now. Even when you look at a lot of these other states, all over across the United States with inventory that's increasing. Yes, we do have inventory that's increasing here. We have a different dynamic. I don't remember who it was. Somebody, was it you that, or no, Jane, I think, had.
Toastmasters, shout out.
Yeah. Went to a conference where the Southern Nevada Water Authority was talking, and they said, it's not as scary as what people think because we've planned. And so we actually use less of our allotment. So you got everybody always says, well, are we going to run out of water next week? No, we're not going to run out of water next week. Arizona and California use more water than we do.
Yeah.
So yes, you are seeing some of these little green belts on the side of the road turning into xeriscapes, but we're doing a great job here, and we still have a lot of opportunity. You're seeing little pockets of communities where it could be, 10 homes, 25 homes. They're doing some more master plan communities in different parts of town. So there's still so much opportunity here that I try not to even listen to the noise. Sometimes when Jen or other people will send me these talking heads on Instagram or Facebook, and they're like, oh, doom and gloom.
The fear-mongering.
I don't even want to hear it.
Yeah, me neither.
Again, that's how they're getting clicks.
Yeah.
But it's not reality. And if it is, you deal with it. Everybody's going to need somewhere to live.
Yeah.
So no matter what happens, we're all going to need somewhere to live. I wish I had a lot of money in the bank to be able to buy all the homes that were available after the bust.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't.
Same.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But no matter what, we're always going to need somewhere to lay our head at night. And so we just deal with it.
Yeah.
I think that there's an interesting chart that I see several times a year. In the last 80 years of real estate in the United States as a whole entire real estate market, there's been 7 years of negative appreciation in the last 80.
That's crazy.
There's been 2 years of no appreciation and then 71 years of positive appreciation.
Wow.
So the numbers are kind of on your side that, it's not smart to bet against the real estate market. You're going to have down years. You don't know when that bust is going to happen.
Yep.
But if you have some longevity and you're looking at it as more of a long-term investment, it's funny because I deal with a lot of investors. And right now, if you're not putting, 35 to 40% down because of where prices are at and because of where interest rates are at, it's really hard to have positive cash flow on an investment property. And so they see that and they're immediately like, I'm not interested. But when you're putting money into your 401k, that's you're not
going to see that for 30 years.
That's an amount that's coming out of your check every month. That's an expense, but you're putting it towards your future. Kind of same thing here with an investment property. There's not a lot of investments where you can put, in the case of an investment, 20% down and then control 100% of that asset.
Yeah.
And then if you're looking at it cash on cash, what you've invested in a deal, even with the negative cash flow, you're still probably getting a double-digit return on your money. And so again, there's you have to have a little bit more longer thinking today than you did in years past because it was immediate gratification. Buy an investment property, put 20% down. When interest rates were 4%, you were positive cash flow, $500-$600 a month. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that isn't the
It's not the norm. It's not realistic.
Well, and you're gonna have pockets where that's gonna be, but again, long term, you're still not gonna miss. There are going to be pockets that are going to be tough, but again, if you can hold through those,
you'll see it on the back end.
Yeah,
we saw that personally with our own. There's a townhouse. So my mom bought a townhouse in the early 2000s during the height. So 2006. So that townhouse at one point was. I think she paid $220,000 for this house. Well, then, of course, we all know what happened 2008, 2009, 2010. And, now I'm in the workforce making a few bucks. I made several offers to buy this house over several years because I love the location, which is the one thing you can't change. And you always say that.
Yeah.
And her exact words to me were, I don't need to take the loss. And I was like, but if you're going to take a loss, wouldn't it be nice to take the loss to your child? She's like, I don't need to take the loss. And she held on to that house for... I think she sold it right after the pandemic, so 2021, and ended up making went from a $220,000 house that I think went down to 99 or something like that, and ended up holding onto it and sold it for well over 300,000. So it's you're gonna have those years where it's just gonna be a little bit lower, but I think we probably all would agree at this table that by buying real estate, it's a great investment in building long-term wealth.
I regret every home I've ever sold.
Yeah, I know.
Every time I've sold a house, I've regretted it. If you look into the future, because now that house that I sold for $450,000 is worth $685,000. It's
same.
Again, you can just do the best you can for the next 3 to 5 years.
Yep.
Because if you try to look out too much further than that, things get a little murky and cloudy.
Yep.
I think 3 to 5 years is something that you can have a general good plan for.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's so funny you say that you regret every house you sold, because I feel the same way.
Yeah.
We had my husband had a condo that was on Sahara and Hualapai, and sold it when we were buying our house. So this was like 10 years ago, whatever. And guess what's across the street from that condo now? The Aviator Stadium in downtown Summerlin.
Geez.
So every single time it's like, we never should have sold that place.
One of the most desirable areas in town, probably.
Yeah. And I can't even begin to tell you what the price difference is for what it's worth today versus what we sold it for. We just cringe. We drive by that neighborhood and we cringe. But I think a lot of people feel that way. And no one has the crystal ball, but I think long term it is still a good investment. And speaking of the neighborhoods, are there any neighborhoods that you're seeing that are garnering specific interest right now?
There's pockets everywhere.
Yeah.
There is a home that I'm going to be putting on the market later on in August. Another agent in my office, she sold it while it was in coming soon status.
Okay.
So yes, there are absolutely desirable neighborhoods, and those are the ones that go very quickly. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean you can overprice and be like, oh, they're going to buy it for no matter what.
Yeah.
You still have to, and that's advice that I would give to any seller right now, is that a lot of times people will say, well, let me overprice it so I can give room to negotiate. Well, a good agent, a good buyer's agent is going to say that agent doesn't really know what they're talking about. Now, obviously the seller's agent has to do what makes the most sense, and kind of a conversation that we had yesterday, you need to find somebody who's motivated.
Yeah.
Because if there's, you don't necessarily want desperation. Desperation is something else, but somebody who just says, well, I just want to put it out there and test the waters and see what I get. More than likely, they're going to be 50 or 100 grand over what realistic numbers are. So it's going to be dependent. You have to look. I've got another community where I've got a listing that's been on the market for 7 months.
Wow.
And there's 6 other condos that have not sold either.
Yeah.
Nothing in contract. So, but again, that one is kind of because there's some Lennar townhomes that are in a very similar price point. And as Jay could tell you, they're allowed to give the world away. They, 3.9% interest rate, 20% in closing costs, and a broker such as Jay can't compete with that. So that makes it very hard to sell. So, and no matter what, there's so many different, so many different places around town where you're going to have pockets where there's 0 homes for sale. Home goes on the market and it's off that week. And then there's other ones where you might have numerous homes, double-digit homes that have been on the market for 6 months.
Yeah.
It's really like a tale of two markets right now, where if you price the home correctly, it's in the right place, you'll garner a ton of attention like immediately. And then there's homes that will just sit for months. And so, again, it can be frustrating as a seller because you're where you're at. You don't have a lot of you
can't change the location.
You can't fix that part of it. But working with an agent, I think that sets realistic expectations is the most important thing. If the agent that you're speaking to is agreeing with everything you're saying as a seller, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
If you're not getting any kind of pushback, if you're not getting, the advice that they need to hear, you're paying Alex or a great real estate agent to give you that feedback that you don't know.
Yep. Well, I mean, you guys have mentioned this a couple times in this podcast, but working together, and that relationship that you guys have has actually benefited your clients on multiple occasions now because of you guys having this close-knit relationship. So in terms of just, what people should be looking for, is it common for realtors to have a specific lender that they work with, or is this unique to you guys?
I don't know. Honestly, it's weird because I don't know
and
of
I didn't
a whole
know
lot of other relationships.
I've
always kind of had my go-to.
Yeah.
I think if you're a solid real estate agent, the lending side is so important to making sure that your client is going to get to the finish line and that paycheck's there. Yeah. I used to tell a lot of people, what do you do for a living? I get real estate agents paid. They need to make sure that they have somebody on our side of the business that can navigate the complexity of what we're dealing with on a daily basis. Every good real estate agent is going to have a lender. Is that lender great? I don't know.
Yeah.
They have a relationship based on some, common threads and things of that nature. But you definitely want to have that. And a lot of real estate agents will say, well, I don't want to refer you to one guy. I'm going to refer you to 2 to 3. And then that's not necessarily a great situation either, because now it's a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
And you may not be getting, the best advice and the best strategy. So what we do is unique to an extent, and it's built on a lot of trust and, just again, we want, like, I feel like most of our clients feel like family by the end, and that's like what we're about.
Okay, I love it.
And it's great because I don't have to worry about what's going to come out of Jay's mouth. I know that I can connect. I sometimes worry about what's going to come out of my client's mouth because some of the goofy things that they ask, but I don't have to worry about being on the call or did Jay follow up with them? Did Jay know what he's talking about? I know that if I can, because I try and do a group thread, group text to introduce Jason, and Jay's always immediate about, so nice to meet you, Chrissy, you know, great. Yeah. Would love to connect with you this afternoon or tomorrow, whatever your time frame is, even when he's on vacation at Muay Thai, you know, tournaments. So being able to have that immediate connection, the buyer might not respond for another day or two, but I know Jay responded immediately, so they know that he's available. But knowing that I can just sit back and I don't ever have to worry about that other part of the deal is so important.
I love it. Well, one more question for you, Jason. So we've talked a lot about the interest rates, but are there other things that people should be looking at when they're going through this loan process? Like, I think most people's instinct would be like, we need to look at where we're going to get the best rate. But are there other things that we might be missing? Yeah,
like there's definitely, like, the rate is an important aspect of it, but like, can you afford the monthly payment? Just because you want a 4% interest rate doesn't mean you want the payment that comes along with it. You know, like, it's all going to be based on like what the market is yielding today. Okay. Waiting a year or 2 years or 20 years for interest rates to get back to 4%, like, it may never happen. Yeah. And the longer you postpone that, like, you're still going to see the price of homes moving up. You're still going to see, like, affordability could get worse. You know, like, today might be the window that you have to get the best deal that you're going to get in the next 3, 5, 7, 10 years. So you just have to, like, go into it with, like, an open mind and not be you know, so like combative about like the interest rate portion of it, because that's where like like the interest rate is like a topic of conversation with your neighbor. If you got a 2.5% interest rate, it's the favorite thing on your balance sheet, and you brag about it. If you got a 7% interest rate, you're not happy about it, but like you may have just made as much money on your real estate as that person with the 2.5% interest rate. And so again, a small component of like a much larger picture. So you can't base it just on that one thing, and like there's nothing you can do to have that rate you want today. It's what is the best situation for you for the next 3, 5, or 7 years.
I love it. Well, listen, we could talk for forever, and we're definitely going to have you guys come back on again, because I feel like we just scratched the surface today. But final question for both of you. If you could go back and give those younger guys in 98 one piece of advice as they're heading out into the world, what would it be?
Buy real estate.
Buy real estate.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because when I was very blessed. I worked out at the Tropicana Hotel as a lifeguard pool. I don't remember if we ever talked about this in the past, and then got a job, was able to work out of the pool at the Mirage. I was actually in Vegas vacation. If you pause it and scroll all the way to the back of the waterfall, the waterfall, I'm in there.
We're going to find this now.
Yeah. But some of just a few of the guys that I worked with were actually buying homes at that time. And again, we're 18, 19, 20 years old. And I'm like, why are you buying homes? And again, now we know. But it just did not. And I mean, we're talking about homes that were today maybe $700,000 homes that were $100,000. You know, again, this is 97, 98, 99. So you can't change it. You could cry about it. But if that was the advice that I would have given myself way back then, when I had lots of money in the cabinet in my kitchen, I would have actually put it where it could have earned some return. Instead of at the drink nightclub or the beach.
Same.
Utopia.
Those bar bills, that money could have gone to so many better things. You know,
bar bills are way worse now.
At least there wasn't bottle service back then.
It's so funny. Well, I appreciate you guys making the time to come on today. This was great. We're definitely going to have to reconvene again and have you guys back on the podcast. But for listeners or our viewers, how can they connect with you guys? Alex, we'll start with you.
Google me.
Google me.
No, definitely. Cell phone is always the best way. 702-768-8898. And Jason Hill Mortgage Advisor on Instagram. Those are the best two ways to get a hold of me.
Perfect.
And for me, 702 Property on Instagram. Cell phone, the only number I have, the only phone that I have. I will always try and answer it unless I'm putting Sammy to bed or putting Sammy to bed. Any other time, I'm usually answering it to the dismay of my family. But my phone number is 702-592-9835, alexmavros@gmail.com. I still remember back in the early 2000s when Gmail came out, and my buddy's like, I have 6 invitations to give out for Gmail. Don't take it if you're not going to use it. I was like, I'll use it. So I got Alex Mavros at gmail.com. I didn't have to have Alex Mavros 237492. So luckily I was able to get that, and still
on the cutting edge of Gmail.
Yeah, I know, right?
I love it. Well, thank you both so much. And thank you to everyone who listened or watched along with us today. Remember to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys next time.